small business makes America work, so put us to work for you. Call 800-580-1395 today. That's 800-580-1395. Or visit us at rapidadvance.com. Rapid Advance. Our business is advancing your business.
Satellite radio. You're listening to Sirius XM Satellite Radio. Satellite radio.
Take a look at this live pictures of a rally for Donald Trump that his campaign says could draw as many as 40,000 people. This is happening at a football stadium in Mobile, Alabama, the University of South Alabama. The response has been so great that the event had to be moved to this football stadium. Let's get the latest on what's going on with the campaign. Our senior Washington correspondent, Jeff Zeleny, is joining us. He's in Iowa. Also joining us, our national political reporter, Maeve Reston, our senior political analyst, Ron Braunstein, the editorial director of the National Journal, and our senior legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin. Jeff Zeleny, you've been covering this campaign. What is the sense out there? Is there a realistic, because a lot of people are doubtful, but is there a path to victory that people are beginning to see for Donald Trump?
Sure, Wolf. I think there is a path to victory depending on what the next iteration of his campaign is. I think any suggestions that his campaign is nearing the end, I think those have been shelved by Republican Party leaders as much as some may want it to be so. But we still do not yet know how much is real in terms of his on-the-ground effort. And voters are viewing this as a process. Every voter I've talked to is intrigued by Donald Trump. Far fewer are actually willing to sign on the dotted line at this very point. So I think it very much depends how he evolves as a candidate, how he conducts himself over the next 6 months. Campaigns always teach us a lot about presidential candidates. Well, I think that is never truer than this campaign because we simply don't know what he'll do next. So very much a live round, but you cannot rule out that he could win some states. Absolutely.
He certainly could win Iowa, maybe New Hampshire and South Carolina. He's doing better than Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio in Florida, their home state. Ron Braunstein, it's been amazing to me over these last several days. More and more political insiders are beginning to suggest, well, you know what, it's possible that Donald Trump could actually capture the Republican presidential nomination. What do you see? What are you hearing?
Well, I think it's still difficult for him, but there's no question that he's tapped a real nerve. Look, Donald Trump is dominating among one wing of the party, that what I call the populist wing of the party. It tends to be more blue-collar, more Tea Party, more evangelical. There will be a finalist in the race primarily representing that wing. That's who Rick Santorum was in 2012. That's who Mike Huckabee was in 2008. That Donald Trump could be that person. It's still not clear whether he can go from 25%, though, to 45%, which is what you will ultimately need to do to win states down the line. And while he could be strong in Iowa, I think New Hampshire, in the end, is a tougher place. But there will be a candidate representing the kind of voters who are flocking to Trump tonight in Alabama. And if you're Ted Cruz or Scott Walker or Rick Santorum, earlier you thought you were going to be that guy against either a John Kasich maybe or a Jeb Bush. Now you have the real possibility that Trump could be the finalist from that wing, and that that is within the realm of possibility.
Maeve, you're speaking to all the Republican campaigns out there, top strategists, staffers, if you will. What are they saying to you? How concerned are they right now about Donald Trump?
Well, I think they're concerned, certainly in the sense that it's been very hard for them to actually get their message out. And there have been some strategy fights within some of these campaigns about exactly how to deal with him. And we obviously saw Jeb Bush coming out and punching a lot harder this week. They like the way that looks. It's now set up as a Jeb versus Donald Trump fight on many of the networks over the last couple of days. And they think that really helps Jeb Bush because it starts to get people to focus on his message and so forth. But I do think that Jeff made a really important point here, because I was hearing the same thing in Iowa and New Hampshire, which is that many voters out there still say that they are considering as many or as 4 or 5 candidates. And when you start digging down and asking them what they think when they imagine Donald Trump, in the big chair in the Oval Office, a lot of them don't know exactly what that's going to look like, and they aren't sure that they're ready to commit to that yet. So I think we need to leave the possibility out there that this campaign is going to evolve over time. And also, as we've seen today, some of the developments that happen around the world can change the contours of the campaign, the way that people think about who they want, in charge of the red button.
And a 1,000-point drop in the Dow Jones over the past 2 days. that could have an impact as well. And let's see if that continues. Jeffrey, why is he resonating with so many of these conservative Republican, maybe independent voters out there?
Well, it seems like there's a combination of sort of general distrust of Obama, which has gone on for years. I mean, this Republican Party is united, but there's also resentment against Washington Republicans. The Senate went Republican, the House went Republican, and what do they have to show for it? Now, maybe that's an unreasonable expectation, but you have a candidate who is not a congressman, who's not a senator, who's not a politician, and who are the two candidates who are doing best in the polls right now, at least right now? You have Donald Trump and Dr. Carson, completely alienated from the current political structure, and that just indicates that they don't like any branch of government.
Jeff Zeleny in a Fox News interview, Donald Trump hit Martin O'Malley, Democratic presidential candidate, former governor of Maryland, while addressing his apology, O'Malley's apology to Black Lives Matter activists for saying that all lives matter. Listen to this.
And then he apologized like a little baby, like a disgusting little weak, pathetic baby. And that's the problem with our country.
He likes to go after these guys. He's hurling insults, but it seems to be helping Trump, doesn't it?
Sure, especially in a Republican primary, it doesn't get much better than going after a Democrat. But I think Martin O'Malley may end up winning this. Shortly after he said that, the O'Malley campaign sent out a fundraising email to their supporters saying, look, we're being mentioned by Donald Trump. It's a sign he's taking this seriously. So I think I was interested to see that he's insulting Democrats. Perhaps that's a sign that he's moving away from insulting Republicans, although I wouldn't count on that full time here. But look, I think that people like this raw sense of what he's saying and doing. But of course there is a line. We don't know what the line is. We'll know probably when it's crossed. But I think this doesn't cross it at all because, Republicans, to the extent that they know Martin O'Malley at all, probably thought that was funny.
Jeffrey, there's a very disturbing story out of Massachusetts, which you're familiar with. Two brothers allegedly ambushed a Hispanic homeless individual sleeping at a subway stop, saying they were inspired to go after this guy by what they heard from Donald Trump's recent comments. That's what these guys allegedly told police officers. It's obviously a very disturbing development when you think about it.
Yeah, I'm inclined to defend Donald Trump on that. Donald Trump isn't calling for people to be attacked in the subway or anywhere else. And I think you can't really draw a line between a pathological act by some criminals and Donald Trump's views. I think, notwithstanding what they said, that's not Trump's response.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that. All right, guys. Thanks very, very much. An important note, the Republican presidential candidates, they're already gearing up for their second debate. It will air right here on CNN on September 16th, live from the Reagan Library in California. And CNN will also host the first Democratic presidential debate. That's on October 13th in Nevada. Just ahead, Kim Jong-un puts his million-man army on war footing as tensions between North and South Korea soar. Now one official is warning that military action may be imminent. And we're also tracking the first major hurricane of the Atlantic season. Where will it strike in the coming days? We'll have the latest forecast for Hurricane Danny. That and more.
The YouTube 15 is on Hits 1, playing the most viewed and emerging music for the moment's biggest parties. Want to know what's trending worldwide and what's buzzing? Hear it on the YouTube 15, hosted by YouTube's Jenna Marbles.
Hey, I'm Jenna Marbles, and every week I'll be sharing this season's news and upcoming YouTube